Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. I was gone all last week and had the most horrible virus, and I'm not going to talk about that. It was terrible. And you know, so that you've had that kind of virus where you go, okay, take me now, Lord, take me now. Oh, and if you want, because it is just so, you feel like you're dying. And then the whole family catches it. And that was our week. Going around trying to keep everybody well, and the plumbing going, and so that it's, and then the electricity goes off. If I don't get that stupid guardian, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And every time it goes off, they go, "Where's the guardian? Where you're supposed to get the guardian? Is that right? Yeah, the guard. No, it's not guardian. It's the Generac. Well, that's what I think of it. It's a guardian. It will watch over you and bring you back power if you need it. But anyway, I've got to get that. And if you have any suggestions to what you can do to make it cheaper, let me know. I mean, your suggestion about not heating the pool for $8,000 and just wearing wetsuits there you go. That made it a whole lot cheaper. Because I found out it was going to be $8,000 to heat this pool. And I went,
yeah,
okay, that's not going to happen. And then he said, all you have to do, Cindy, is you go and you get these wetsuits. and you won't feel a thing. You can go in there and splash around and swim and all that. I explained that to all the kids, and they went, you could see the look of their eyes trying to figure out what in the world are you talking about. But anyway, so that was a really good suggestion. You can be an advisor on something like that. Yeah. I've got Chris Wootton sitting right here in the house with us. And thank you so much. And Chris Wootton is our sponsor, and he is the head guy at Chris Wootton Financial Group. It's a good idea because
I think he's the only guy.
No, you know what?
Everything else is AI.
Yeah.
It's going that way.
That's what. No, he's hired a new assistant. Is she assistant to you, or is she going to be a partner?
She'll be an advisor.
Okay.
We've got her going through some training stuff, so it'll be some time before I turn her loose. But
she was so sweet, and she just kept nodding her head. Everything you said.
Doing a great job.
It was doing
a great job.
No, that's good. You're lucky. You got Alicia, who is. Yep. You better not ever make her mad.
Yeah. She's really the boss. She runs the place. So
it's like doctors and nurses. The nurses inside they go. He knows that I know that he knows that I am the one that's getting this done, and so they they're empowered by that. But only a woman could do that because that's what you learn to do. You let the man think it's his idea. You let the man think that he's the boss.
Well, you get to a point where it's kind of like your wife. I mean, she second guesses, right? I mean, she knows what I'm going to say before I say it, what I need before I need it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of how my wife is.
That's
too.
perfect.
But yeah, I mean, we work together for a number of years now, and you know,
She knows.
yeah.
Well,
So
you got to go to Reels and find the one where this man and this woman are driving in the car and they're listening to the radio, and this guy goes, not one man on this earth ever woke up and said, you know what, I want to be a husband. And I want to be a husband because I'm tired of making decisions, and I'm tired of, deciding where I'm going to park in the parking lot. I'll let that wife do that. That's what I need to do.
I'm tired of deciding where to
nobody
eat.
ever wants to be a husband. So, it was just, it's hilarious. And this woman is also in Reels because she's come out and she's now doing what it's like to be old. Yeah. She said, I just figured out I was old. Man, what is this all about? And it's just, I'm old, and everybody around me's not, and it's just it goes on. She does a stand up at church. She goes around churches and does this. It was great, and I'm sure Bob Smiley is trying to steal some of her. I thought about Bob. I said, he needs to be listening to her because she's got some good stuff. Bob's going to be on the show December 10th. If the reason he's looking over because he.
Well, I think Chris knows all about how you operate. So I looked at you funny because in the past I've told Cindy not to book anybody. I'll book them because I'm booking people for December and this month, and then now she's just like totally ignores that, and she just said she calls like, "Hey, Chris is coming on Tuesday," and I'm like, "Didn't we agree no one on a Tuesday unless like that's the only day?" Because we use Tuesday as like a preview of the week. But she doesn't.
I'm naughty boy today.
No, she doesn't care. No, she doesn't care. She's like, "Oh, he said Tuesday. That's fine." Yeah. And then I bet you Bob Smiley's going to be a Tuesday. I haven't looked at the calendar because I didn't.
No, it's a Thursday, I think.
And then I told her, I was like, I'm getting the African choir who's visiting Montgomery County coming in December, and I was like, it might be the 10th. I haven't really looked yet because you don't book people.
Are they going to be on here?
Two people are. They're gonna. One's an actual person who went through the program, and then the other one's when they actually are here.
Oh,
I think.
Cool. Wow.
But yeah, it's really interesting. They travel around the country, and it's.
Yeah.
Well, if they are, Bob will enjoy having them here and talking to them.
So I can start out the preview for this week.
Okay.
On today's show, I'm here.
Yay!
Talking about whatever y'all want to talk about. So.
But no, as I said, Chris knows your procedure. We're like, hey, you need a sign, you need to do these things, and you're like, okay, yeah, and then you just leave, and then you just kind of like, oh, I mailed them. Why would you mail them? We didn't say mail them.
Well, he used to be really so strict about making sure everybody signs these waivers. And you have to explain to everybody these waivers, we're not taking your children away. We're not going to, we may use your image sometime, but we'll ask you, make sure you agree it's fine. Anyway, you have to explain all that stuff because everybody's afraid to put their name to something like that. It's scary. And so anyway, yes, sometimes he's like a substitute teacher. You can just beat him down and they won't bother you after a while because they know they can't do anything. No,
Well, my personal goal is to get to the point with the station where I have someone helping me, and they're not going to put up with any of it. I can't wait for that day when I'm like, hey, Cindy, don't call me, don't text me. You're gonna call Steven over here. Like, I don't ever want to hear from you. If I see you, I'll give you a hug. But, I'm not going to be here for the shows. So, Steven, call Steven.
That is so mean.
I can't wait. It's my I keep thinking about that day. I get to tell all the hosts, don't text me. Don't call me.
But who's going to bring you pizza?
So, no, she'll bring it for Steven, and then I'll come through the back and go grab a slice. But yeah.
You'll miss me when I'm gone. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I booked him because he's so booked up now, and his wife is having surgery that next day. He said,
But see, the thing is, Cindy, I offered. I love her to talk about this. I offered to help her, and I'm like, just give me the phone number. I'll call anybody you want me to call. Give me their email address. I'll email anyone. I'll book it. Like I'm your booker now.
He's trying to treat you like a VIP.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's trying to make sure he has control of it, because he knows that if it's left up to me, it may be a la-di-da-da-da-da-da, but he'll have it down. He'll have it down. He'll get it done. He'll get it done. Because he wanted me to call him on Sunday nights.
I didn't want her to call me. I just said,
You said
email
text,
the station.
yeah,
not
email.
me. The station. You can call the station all you want. It's not me.
And I'll go, Richard, it's me. Did you get my email? Don't call me.
Yeah.
Don't text me. Don't do anything. He's so mean. But
I imagine Chris has had those days.
not with me.
Generally speaking, they do come.
Yeah.
Where
They slip in and they're like,
you just can't take another phone call, whatever. Yeah, I've been there.
well, you know what I read though is there is a service like there's an AI answering service now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like $6 a month, and it's like your personal assistant. Yeah. And it
I
sounds,
have one, so I don't have to worry about it.
So you're lucky.
She is a
Alexa-
very good
Alicia.
gamer.
Yeah, I wish I had a
Ooh,
Steven.
I'm gonna tell
I wish I had a
you
Steven.
You compared her to an AI. I just
Well, I imagine
The Alicia
for,
interface.
yes,
I imagine for the financial market, it's better to have a real person talk to somebody
Yeah.
instead of an AI. Because I would love an AI. I would love to see Cindy, and when I would do this is how I would get her. I would change up the voice every single time, and she probably wouldn't know it's not a real person. So she'll like the next time she sees me, she's like, "Who answers your phone?" It's different every time.
I have people.
Yeah, it's like I got a lot of people. One's British, you know.
My entourage.
Yeah.
But is Freddie married? You know,
Yeah. Can they be on the show? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have them call in. I wouldn't tell her the whole time. It's like you're talking to a robot right now.
Oh, mercy.
That's
That's
okay.
actually a big, it's actually like a really big question mark in our industry right now.
For money management?
Yeah. Will AI take the place of advisory firms? And I mean, there are definitely aspects that it can take the place of, but I don't think for most people you're ever going to be able to replace the human element of, for example, talking someone off a cliff when the market's down 50%. You know,
Well,
a computer's not going to do that.
No.
One thing I always thought about with your type of business is there's people who make a lot of money and they like decide what to do with it, but then if they have no idea, I was like, I think I saw an ad because you have that neat word you say for your judiciary. No, fiduciary. That's like a special label for you guys. Yeah. And I saw a commercial that said like, this is how we're different. We're fiduciaries. And I was like, hey, there's Chris. But I was like, but these guys are probably like worldwide. That sounds terrible. Like if I give somebody my money, I want to be one of those buttheads. Like I know where this guy works.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the double-edged sword to it. But then it's like that's why I like going to do business with people like that.
But you out there listening to this, you have to know that Chris is he's so accommodating, and he's. You know, it's like I call him up and I say, hey, Chris. Yeah? Oh, okay. How's Florida? Oh, that's right. Be sure and tell your wife I said hi. But now, listen, I just have one question. And and so, no, I try not to bother him when he's on vacation. But, you know, if I can't get a hold of Alicia, then I would have to call Chris and talk to Chris. No, but they are so sweet and they get back to you. Right, don't you? You always get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, so the rule of thumb is if a client calls, then we want to be back in touch within 24 hours, right?
Am I a client? Do you consider me a client?
Well, sure you are.
I thought you were
It's
your
one of
friend.
those pro bono things I think they do to give back to the community. That's what I tell people. Actually, they go, who's Cindy? I was like, oh, that's my giving back to seniors.
A widow.
at the
That's your
station.
widow. You
So from
helping
now
widows.
on, I'm going to call Richard and then ask him to pass the message along too.
Well, because I love. That's one thing I love about having Cindy in my life. I just learn all these new things. And when at one point when she moved into this new house, like, you just need to call me if you have a question about anything, because so many new things are happening.
Yeah.
I was like, Cindy, you can just call me. Like, if someone comes to your house and is trying to mow your lawn, call me and I'll talk to them.
Well,
Like-
we have the rule of thumb because we're in and out of meetings, and we don't know when a client's going to call. So,
Yeah.
It's either an email or a return phone call within 24 hours. And, if it's obviously something very important, then you may get an after hours call. But
If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911 and talk to them and ask them the question you ask me.
Yeah.
See, that's what you need. You need that. You can, send this question to your wife. And
I have
she'll
had
say,
situations
"Stop it."
where I actually left a meeting with a client to take a call because it was maybe a death in the family or something along those lines. And most people understand that. Most people are, because if you're sitting in there with your spouse, right, and my secretary walks in and goes, "Hey, so-and-so's on the phone. It sounds pretty important." They fully understand that, because if they
Yeah.
were in that situation, they would
Right.
want someone
Yes,
to
you'd
understand
be
their
able to-
situation,
Right.
So
That's very good. That's
I
very
try
good.
not to let it happen too often, but it does happen.
Yeah. Well, I do have to set an appointment with you. I told Alicia, I said, okay, can I get like an hour of his time? That would be so much fun. I've got so many questions and stuff. And usually what happens is we do this. We start talking about everything else besides what about the money. But Chris is great because he'll take your meeting, and if you renew, and he'll talk to you, and you can kick the tires, as he says it. So cute. And you decide whether you like him, if he likes you. If he doesn't like you, you'll never get a call back. No, he likes, but Chris likes everybody. So it's,
Well, there are good fits and not so good fits, right? I mean, I'm not the only financial advisor out there. I mean, I think we have a niche in what we do and how we do it. But that doesn't mean we're the right fit for everybody. And I am at a point in our business, in my career, where I can pick and choose who I want to do business with, right?
Ooh.
And they can pick and choose, obviously, who they want to do business with.
That's where Richard's trying to get to that point.
Well, but I mean, there are some people, they come in, and when they kind of lay out their goals and their expectations on how things, how they would like to see things, that may not mesh with our wheelhouse, right? Because we do have a very unique style of investing, a very unique style of managing risk, and that's not for everyone. Okay, so some people are on board with it, some people aren't, but we're not going to change what we do, right, to try to please everybody. That creates problems of its own. So
True. That's true. But I just admire you so much because you work with me and you don't talk to me like I'm a child and that I don't know from nothing. And but you'll try very hard to explain. It's just me remembering what you told me. And
Okay.
he has this huge screen that he puts everything up there on. And
So this is where AI can be helpful.
uh-oh.
You can actually have AI on your cell phone dictate the entire conversation. I've had people do that. In
What?
meetings.
Really?
Yeah. It will listen to what I'm saying and what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it will dictate, write it down, basically what was said in the meeting. So if you're not a good note taker, like you can't write real fast or you have trouble remembering something said in the meeting or whatever, there are advisory firms. I'm actually thinking about implementing it. I haven't yet. There are firms around the country where I keep in touch with owners that own firms around the country. And some of them actually use that with their advisors. Like if they've got 15 advisors in the office, they, when you have a firm that gets to that size, you have to systematize everything, or else, it's like herding cats. You've got just things going everywhere.
Right.
So they will systematize their note-taking process, and most of them are using some type of AI application to do that. where when they have a meeting with a prospective client or an existing client, they feed into it how it, dictates the notes, how it sets it up. And that way they have a record of it so they know what to go back and do for that client when everything's said and done. And the client has a copy of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And see, I told you, Chris, you said that. What? And
you said
I got a letter from Allstate, and I called. Paul, my realtor, says, just like Richard, call me before you do anything or commit to anything. Call me. So I called him. I said, I think I'm being sued. And I went, you're being sued? Why? And what are you talking about? I said, remember when I hit that lady, this truck? I hit it. I just bumped. Well, it was a little more than a bump. It did. Her bumper was kind of creased. Okay. But anyway, but we exchanged. We didn't call the police or anything. Exchanged, and she went on her way. And so I get this letter from Allstate, and I thought it said injured loss, injured's lost. So I'm going like, injured? Who got injured? Somebody get injured? And so I called Paul and I said, I think I'm being sued. I mean, I think they're going to sue me, and I don't know what to do. He says, let me come over and read what you. So he's sitting there. He goes, Cindy, spell injured. Spell injured. And I said, injured, INJURED. Okay, now spell insured. INSUR. He said it said.
You're like, let me put my glasses on. I'm sorry. I had you come over here for nothing.
Yep.
It
doesn't surprise me.
Yes. I just said, oh, please don't tell Richard about this. So anyway, but you, I mean, that's what I mean. You're very conscientious, but you're like accommodating is the only word I can think of, because most people that have to work with me, it's still difficult for them to be accommodating, but you do.
Well, I just think, you treat people like you would want to be treated, right?
Well,
I mean, people, they're coming to us for a reason. If they knew how to do everything, they wouldn't be there, right? And so we want them to be educated. And I know, even myself, after all these years, I still have a bad habit of sometimes I can get too far off into the weeds, right? And as soon as you see that glassy-eyed look, I mean, you kind of know you've lost them, and you kind of need to pull the cookies down to the bottom shelf, so to speak. So, but genuinely, I want clients to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, especially for their unique situation. We try to plan uniquely, because everyone that comes in, their situation's a little bit different from everyone else. Right?
Well, it's got to be really exciting though for you, because you are in the stock market, right?
Yep, sure.
And you are investing in different stocks and stuff. So you have to study the stocks and study the company and all that before.
Well, I mean, yes and no. We have researchers that do that for us, right? But it's not just individual stocks. We will stay at the asset class level or the sector level using ETFs and mutual funds and so forth. But we do, depending on the portfolio, use some individual stocks. But the point being is that the way that we manage risk in that regard is a lot different from the way most people are used to seeing when they go to, the big box houses of the world. If you go to like a Fidelity retail office or, any of your big bank broker-dealer type shops, they have a way that they manage money. And so we don't invest that way. It's a lot different than what people are used to. So, and that's kind of what sets us apart. Okay. So I have a mantra with our clients, especially when it comes to investing. We want to achieve the rate of return need that a client needs to make their financial plan work, meaning their financial plan should be the foundation that drives all their decision making in any area of their financial life. So if you haven't done a plan, you're guessing, okay? Meaning if you've gone into a financial advisory office and they haven't done a full-blown financial plan for you to determine how you should invest, what you should invest in, how are you going to manage your risk, what kind of income strategy are you going to have, how are you going to mitigate your taxes, how does your estate look, If you're a high net worth investor, what kind of tax strategies are we doing to reduce your tax exposure? Okay. All of those things are part of financial planning. And if you're just going into an office and all they're doing is basically selling you a financial product, putting you in a product, a stock, a bond, a mutual fund, an annuity, whatever it may be, and they've not done planning as a foundation for that, then you're not getting planning. You're just buying financial products. Okay. So financial planning drives the ship for anyone in our office, because I don't believe that if you don't know what the problem is, it's kind of hard to offer somebody a true solution, right?
Right.
And that's what financial planning does, is it pulls out and evaluates where are the holes? How do we need to put this together to fill the holes, to mitigate risk in all these areas, okay? So anyways.
And are you so excited because of not just the election, but what it caused people to do? What it's raised so many hopes, and it looks, the future looks good and all that
Man,
stuff. How does that
hard
affect
for-
you guys?
I mean, obviously we have clients that are all over the spectrum politically.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not ashamed of who I am and what I believe, the values that I hold, right? So I have no problem telling people who I voted for. Okay. But I am sensitive to the fact that not everybody feels the way I do, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah,
That's the great thing about the freedom that we have in this country.
that's exactly right.
So, but I will tell you that the calls that I have fielded just the last few days after the election, it is a 180-degree change in sentiment from how people were speaking before.
Right.
Okay. Meaning exactly what you just said. They're more positive. They're more hopeful. And look, we don't know what's going to happen over the next 4 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We know what happened during the first term.
Yeah.
And at least economically speaking, for sure, it was fantastic. Okay. But we don't know what's going to happen over the next 4 years.
Right.
But I think people are just hopeful. They're optimistic because they know what has happened in the past. They're hopeful he can bring that back. And we'll see.
And I feel like there's been a big change that's happened.
But the thing I would tell your listeners, or anyone investing, let's put it that way, is number one, you never invest around politics. Okay? Because I could give you statistics, but I could bore you to death with them. Stock markets, believe it or not, have actually done better historically under Democratic presidents than they have under Republican presidents. Okay? Now, I believe there are reasons why that I won't go into for the sake of time, but that's just a fact. Okay? The stock markets in general, investing markets, they don't care who's in office.
Right.
In large measure, meaning they are. I'm losing the word. It is. They're kind of, in a sense, agnostic to whoever's in office.
Right.
There's two primary things that drive the financial markets. It's fear and greed.
Right.
Okay. All they care about is where do they need to invest to make money. And if it's not your guy in office, they don't care. They're just going to reallocate their portfolios towards what that person's agenda is because they believe that could be the area to make money. We're a little bit different in the way we invest. We're not prognosticators. We're not stock pickers in that sense. We don't even really care. What we look at is more technical driven. Okay, so we're looking at volume, momentum, price action, those types of things. I mean, that's only one of about 17 different things we evaluate. But we're looking at that, and then mathematically we want to adjust every month, every quarter, whatever. And we want to be holding the areas of the market that show the best potential to make money because that changes all the time.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't sit in one place. We're not scared to exit markets if we need to from time to time, especially if you're in a big bear market decline. Again, that's something that kind of sets us apart. We have a fantastic track record in that regard. So all I'm saying is if you're just prognosticating and essentially flipping a coin based on whoever got elected, and you're doing that in the way that you invest, I mean, at best, you have a 50-50 shot of making money, okay? Because we just don't know. what's going to happen. Nobody knows the future of the market.
No, but what killed me is that Trump comes out with these golden tennis shoes, and he said, he goes, this is your favorite president, President Trump, and again, I'm bringing out my golden tennis shoes. They're Trump golden tennis shoes. They're going to be gone in hours. You better call now. and then now he's got the watch thing. And I'm wondering, because I remember there was a guy that was going into politics, and he owned a radio station, and so he would come on the radio station and do commercials for people, and then and then they said, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I'm wondering, how's he getting away? I guess he can get away with a lot of things, but how he's getting away with doing that?
Well, he hadn't been sworn in yet.
Yeah, he better. So everybody better get your golden tennis shoes.
He's president-elect Trump,
Right.
right? So, but like he did last time, he'll have to divest himself from his business relationships and so forth. And that's also the problem with all of the grandstanding he did with Elon Musk, through the campaign cycle. If Elon is indeed appointed a position in his cabinet, he'll have to do the same. Right?
Yeah.
So that's something that he'll have to evaluate and think about is how do I divest and still maintain control of what I control now without it turning into, a big mess. But
they've been interviewing his mother. And so I would hate to tell his mother, guess what Elon's going to have to do? He's going to have to give up all his stuff. And she go, not my Elon, no, not my Elon.
They have ways of doing it.
Yeah. He gave it all to his mom.
You had asked me when you asked me to come on about, what do you think is going to happen in the market since Trump got elected? Mm-hmm. As I just said, no one really knows for sure.
Right.
Okay. We don't try to predict the future. That's why I try to tell clients, we want to follow the mathematics of what is happening in the market, not what we think is going to happen, which is how most people invest. Mm-hmm. Hey, we think this company is going to have big earnings and make money into the future, raising profits, which will raise their stock price, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to buy this stock now. They're flipping a coin. They don't know if they're going to make money. They might, okay? We would rather follow the math of what is. Mm-hmm. Where is big institutional dollars flowing, right? If institutional money is flowing there, meaning smart money, that's probably where you want to be because that's where the money's being made. Okay.
Yeah.
So how that shakes out under Trump, I can't say for sure, but I will say this: we saw what happened the first week in office in the markets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just an immediate woo. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
And there are other things globally that you're seeing. Mm-hmm. I've seen a few of them reported on. Europe is going to stop buying oil from certain nasty countries.
There has been a ripple
effect. They're going to order LNG from the U.S., okay?
There has been a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
And
it was immediate. The guy's not even in office yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's still appointing his cabinet. Mm-hmm. And the more of these positions that kind of get laid out, the clearer a picture there is being painted of exactly how things are going to be done. Okay. Yeah. And it's even kind of boiling down into the remaining House race, the Senate control. I saw a couple of articles now where it's being floated that this little shenanigan that Mitch McConnell tried to pull in terms of keeping a Trump conservative out of Senate leadership, okay, that could be thwarted by going back and doing what John Adams did 200 years ago, which is you have the vice president, J.D. Vance, serve as Senate Majority Leader,
right,
or Speaker, whatever
and can
I can't remember,
and can make or break a vote.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he would control what comes through the Senate. He would control the entire agenda and calendar of the Senate. So, that hasn't been done in 200 years, but it's not unprecedented. There is historical precedent for it. So,
well, it's just exciting because there has been so much stuff that's already started going crazy without that, without him sitting in the office. And so tomorrow he's meeting with Biden. And wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall and hear that? or not hear anything, or just crickets. What did you? Okay, so
Well, it'll be a meeting full of many words but few sentences in terms of meeting with Biden. So.
and it's just been the most interesting, exciting election I've ever seen. And talk about white knuckling through the whole thing. But and then all of a sudden you start feeling like, wait a minute. Well, if he's done it, and you're sitting there speculating, like, wait a minute, it sounds like they're getting ready to call something on, call this on him. And Fox certainly learned their lesson not to call things too early.
Yeah,
because,
during the last one, sure.
Yeah, they get in a lot of trouble, and people standing in lines for hours, and all of a sudden somebody yells from the back, da-da-da, just got it. They've already, so why are we standing in line then?
Yeah.
And that was, but I loved early voting was so great because.
Well, I think they learned a lot of lessons from
Yeah.
the last couple of go-rounds in terms of the ground game, turning out the early vote, which Republicans are they're just flat out terrible at it. I mean,
Right.
that's one area that Democrats have just really done a better job.
That's right.
But this go-round, there were a lot of milestones.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that in large measure is, believe it or not, due to Lara Trump, who is the chair, Republican Party chair.
Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura.
Is it Laura or Lara? It's Lara is how they spell her name. Is she
But
pronounce it Laura?
Yeah, I think that's, because I didn't recognize what you
Well,
just
forgive
said.
me if she
No.
ever hears this.
I would hate
Lara, Laura. I'm not
don't
sure.
get them down on you at all. No, don't do that. But see, you're in such a great position to see all that stuff, and you've been in the Conroe area over 21 years, and so as I tell people that if you do something wrong in Conroe or to a client, everybody's going to know about it, and they'll have him, out of the city on a rail, right? So that's
run
what
me
they
out.
would have you out, run you out of the town, because they don't put up with that kind of stuff. It's like, this is my money, and you don't mess with my money. You just make it grow, and that's and now the high risk thing is it true? If high risk means high, what you're going to get back is more.
Risk reward. Yeah. I mean, the higher the risk, typically, the higher the reward. But that can also work the opposite direction, right? The higher the risk, the more loss you can have if things go the other direction.
Yeah.
Especially in the investment world, right?
Right.
Now, again, if I look at, for example, some of our portfolios that are more on the aggressive side, meaning higher risk, even those, in the context of, if I compared it with company A, B, and C that use a more traditional risk management approach, nowhere close to the risk that they hold. Okay. And I can't give numbers and stuff on the air because it's,
Right.
Against policy. But anyways, but I will just say, anybody that wants to drop by and kind of see performance differentials, that kind of thing, I'm happy to go through those numbers with them anytime.
Right, and you will have his number and his commercial that he does on our show, after our show, because he is a sponsor of the show. And that doesn't mean that we're treating him nice because he's a sponsor. We no. What I like to do is just draw out who the person is in an interview, a conversation that we're having and stuff, and how you react to things. You're very kind, and that's a big deal to people coming in. And if you're going to be sweet to my money, are you going to be nice to my money, and you're going to make sure that my money grows? And
I like how you're talking about your money in the third person. That's almost kind of. Are you going to name your money?
Well, you haven't heard.
Have you named it?
I think it's the irrevocable and the revocable. It's like
It is.
that's
Well, it
so
will be if we get the paperwork back. So.
Well, okay. I can't. What am I paying you for? You're supposed to do that. You know that.
I'm working on
I'm
it.
working on the
I'm
side.
working on it.
You know that thing. That thing.
That
thing. Oh man, being a widow is difficult.
Yeah.
Not only for the loss, but for the fact that he left you all the things that he tried to tell you about, and all the things that I now appreciate him even more. And I hope that when I go to heaven, that I get to tell him thank you so much for
Yeah.
leaving me all that and putting that I just took on all that stress and stuff that you had. And I understand now why you wanted to leave. So you kept saying, I'm not afraid of dying at all. I'm not afraid of dying because it'll be such a relief. I understood now what he was talking about. But it really made me go like, why didn't I go to those meetings with him and Chris? I should have been there listening, whether I understood anything they were talking about or not. I should have just sat there. Yes,
I did. In fairness, I would always ask you, man.
No,
when are you
where's
bringing
Cindy? Why isn't Cindy here? And what would
It was funny though, because he would come in, and sometimes we'd visit for an hour and a half. And when I say visit, meaning the first all but about the last 10 minutes of the meeting, it was politics and
yes, that's right.
and how things just aren't like they were 50 years ago, and
right.
I
remember back in the day.
But it was great because you get a lot of those perspectives, and then the last 10 minutes we just hammer in the financial stuff. But anyway.
That's what. Well, you had the best mints when I went. I like those kind of mints that you had, and so I would enjoy those while y'all are talking about stuff. But I really should have paid attention, and that's my fault. And you were right about all of that. And I remember asking you, okay, so what if somebody comes in and they missed all the meetings, and what would you do with them? And it's like you start over again, and you just it's from the beginning now.
I mean, the difficult thing is it's not uncommon, right? I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
But it is more difficult on the spouse if they're not as familiar with what's going on. So, but you're right. You just have to kind of start from scratch as if you're a brand new client, even though you're not. Right. You start with them as if they are, and you just lay things out as simplistically as you possibly can.
Right.
And then answer questions. Right.
Right.
I mean, that's really the key. Is just answering a lot of questions. And it's a key for a spouse, even if you're watching this and you're not a client of ours, whatever firm you're at, the key to knowing what's going on and making sure that, they're doing what's in your best interest and that you understand why they're doing things is you have to ask a lot of questions. The difficult thing is most people just don't know what questions to ask.
Yes.
And, that can be hard.
Well, for women, and being 76, I have 76 years old. I have been through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Okay, so I've been through all those, and I mean, and being in the entertainment business, it also puts you at, up against the men who they were terrible through the 60s, 70s. They were terrible to women, and they didn't want you there, and when I walked in on the sports thing, because I'm upstairs from Time Warner, and we were doing videos and stuff like that. So I walk into the place where all the reporters are, and I was looking for someone, and I opened the door, and they went, and Lowell Thomas comes over and goes, and escorts me out. He says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, I need to find." He said, "No, women don't come in here. We don't let women in here."
Okay.
So that's why everybody looked at you so weird, like, we're not going to start that, are we? Then? But I said, "Well, are you kidding me? Really? You don't let women in here?" "No." I said, "Well, I'm looking for Elma Barrera." And so, "Do you know where she is?" He said, "Well, she'd have to be da-da-da because we don't allow women reporters."
She was a newscaster, wasn't she?
Channel 13. She worked for Channel 13 forever.
Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten her name. Wow.
Yeah, in fact, she kept reminding me because I stood next to her interpreting the news.
Okay.
And she would say, "Okay, now remember, my name is Barrera.
Yeah.
How do you roll your R's?" And I went, "Okay, this is an R, and I just roll it."
Yeah.
And she said, "No, I'm not kidding. How do you roll?" Well, they can't hear me rolling it with my tongue. Yeah. They'll see that I'm rolling your. I said, "I don't know if they get it or not." Yeah. And she said, "Okay." But one day we had a hurricane come in, and she's announcing this hurricane's coming in, and everybody giving them all the information, and then she starts doing it in Spanish, and I'm sitting there, and she starts Spanish, so I keep signing and saying, "Elma now is speaking in Spanish." And I don't know Spanish Sign Language, but I'm going to keep signing because it looks like I know Spanish. And so we finished that. It was over, and she said, "You know Spanish sign language?" And I went, I kept signing, didn't I?
As far as
She
you
said,
know.
"Yes, that's right." It was hilarious. I finally told her later on. I said, "No, I was just telling them that you thought this was funny to do this in Spanish and see what I would do." So, but anyway, I don't know how we got off on that, but the women, had a hard time going through all that stuff. So you're this age and you're now widowed. You don't have the husband to go in and do all this stuff for you, and that you feel so vulnerable. And people take advantage of you, and they come to your door and want to sell you all kind of things and all that, and you're so happy to have somebody to talk to, but it doesn't work out that way. So to know that and be secure with someone like you, that you really do care, you take care of the people, and you're very just extremely sweet about being so inviting, and like we'll talk to you, and you know, I'm not going to say hurry up, I got things to do, I got places to go, and you're not that way. So I just want people to know that about you, and that's important. All the facts and figures and all the stocks and all that stuff, just swirl in my head. And so, but I know that you're the kind of person that's not going to, do anything to hurt the money. Keep my money, sweet money. And no, it hurt, but just going to make it grow. And that's exciting. And I understand the ups and downs of things and whether it could go sideways.
Yeah, and that goes back to just planning.
Right.
How do we accomplish the goal we're trying to accomplish with as little risk as possible? That's really the goal. Okay. And the killing part is that looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
Because they're
all individuals.
There are different ways you can do it. Some ways that we like to utilize with clients, a lot of times the client may not like it, meaning they may not be comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, the money is the client's money. Right. So there's typically more than one way to try to go about accomplishing risk management, a goal that a client has. And it's just finding the right path that fits the comfort level of the client in a few different ways, but also still gets the job done. Because, from a fiduciary perspective, that's our job. It's to do what's in the best interest of the client. Right. But we've still got to get the job done in the way that's copacetic for the client.
Right.
And a lot of times there can be a little bit of a rub there because I may recommend something to a client that I believe is the best interest, meaning this is the best way to get this done. And they just may completely not want to do it. Okay, well, if we come to an impasse like that, then that's typically when I'm going to have somebody sign off on a form that says, Chris recommended I do this. I'm choosing not to do this. And that has more to do with just the litigious society we live in because I know that clients have very short memories when things go wrong. Okay.
My doctor made me sign.
Yeah.
I want you to sign this. I told Cindy she needs to do this every day or she's going to have a heart attack and die.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sign that. And he said, you got to sign it or I'm not treating you anymore. I went, okay.
Yeah.
It was very scary to put that down. But it did make me go like, okay, I'll do that.
Well, yeah. And I mean, part of it is making you think, right? I mean, there is obviously a reason why I'm telling you to do it this way. It's your money.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want me to do it another way, I'll figure out how to get it done. But you need to understand that's going to come with other risks that you don't have going this way.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to be responsible for you taking those additional risks.
Yeah.
That's really the bottom line. So,
and somebody like me, you have to talk to me like that, and then I'll go like, okay, fine, do whatever you want to. I don't care. Do I have enough to go eat at McDonald's? That's all I care about. No, but you're very good, and you've got a great staff, and I believe that you're going to go far.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're trying. We're trying to go farther. How about
farther,
that?
yes, and I want to go with y'all wherever you go.
Well, come on down.
Well, it really would behoove you guys to please, take advantage of the fact that you got this guy right here in this area, and you're off of 336.
336 in Longmire.
In Longmire. You're right there in that big complex right there
The
is where
Commonwealth
he is.
Center. Yeah, that's what it's.
Is it Commonwealth?
Commonwealth Center. It's a 3-story gray building. Yeah.
I like that, Commonwealth. So we're all the Commonwealth. And you go see him, and we've got the phone number, just like it's on all the screen, all the stuffs we have. You'll see his phone number. But Richard has it memorized. Okay, go, Richard. Call 936.
He's pulling up the website.
Richard.
449
5952. 5952.
5952.
I mean, it's in the description.
I know.
But like I always told her, it's like if you don't remember the specifics, just tell people it's already written below.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. It's everywhere. I just want to.
I was getting the next show set up because I have a show right after this one.
Oh, okay. All right. Go back to sleep. That's okay. I have to drive Cindy to school every morning, and she says, "Okay, Grandma, I don't hear you anymore. Okay, all right, night." She lays down, and I just talk to myself the whole time.
I think that's how I'm going to say goodbye to you.
I don't hear you anymore.
Yeah, hey, Cindy. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. Okay.
We want to say thank you to Chris giving us your valuable time.
Happy
That
to
won't
do
be
it.
on my count.
have a good
No,
time.
okay. No, I'm so glad that you came because you have, this big wide about knowledge about everything. It's not just about the money and that stuff. You know what's going on, so it's fun to talk to you and have you on. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you to Chris. Could you come back anytime that you want to? It's your show. Actually, it's your show. Also, I want to say thank you to...
It's not his show. It's my show.
It's the Cindy Cochran Show. I have to keep reminding myself of it as we get through the show. And just thank the first responders, all the first responders. We love you. We just admire you so much. And thank you for keeping us safe. All of you policemen out there, oh, man, they are... I've had to slow down so much because y'all are all everywhere. So you keep me safe. Thank you very much. And listen, call somebody you love, okay? Just go ahead and do that today. That would be great. I'm going to call Richard. So anyway, thank you. We'll see you. You don't hear me.
I don't hear you anymore.
Bye.